Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. So this week I'm doing several garden bits and pieces. Obviously getting winter, I've been quite busy and I haven't had a chance to catch up on certain jobs and bits and pieces. So this week's going to be me doing a few bits and pieces while it's not raining, although it might rain later. I'm just by the pond here, and as you can see, just sort of here, it's just overflowing slightly. And it starts to overflow when the overflow pipe gets filled up. Obviously, we've had a lot of leaves blow down and it gets filled up. We used to have a sort of a bit of a filter, but it's gone. So I'm going to unblock the drain and then put a new filter on. So there we are. I've managed to use my drain blocker and blocker pipe work to get through the overflow, and I've dislodged any sort of twigs and leaves and stuff like that had caught in the pipe, and it's now full flowing out the other end. So job done, that's all clear. Hopefully that will bring the level of the pond back down, and the next thing to do is put a sort of handmade filter element on it. What I've got here is I've just got some chicken wire that I've bent into a kind of a V shape, and I'm going to put this kind of on the hose on one side, and then that should hopefully give me a little bit of a filter to stop any more twigs or leaves or anything else going down the hose and blocking it, so that it can do its job and stop the pond from overflowing. My handmade filter, which is just made from chicken wire. And I literally am just going to put it over the side here, and then hopefully that will stop anything from going. Bend it into place, there we are, and that'll hopefully stop anything from going down the pipe, anything big, and then I can just empty it every sort of week or so, or just clear some of the big bits, and that'll stop me having to unblock the pipe, hopefully for another year. So now I'm at the other end of the pond where the water comes into the pond, and as you can see again, there's a sort of really an overflow, I suppose, a bit here, and it's getting very, very full, and the bank that I'm standing on here, it's nearly getting to the top where it's kind of overflowing. So I'm going to unblock the filter that I've got here, and while I've got the pipes out, or the drainage rods out, I'm going to clear the drain here as well. As you can see, it's sort of trickling through at the moment. Hopefully that'll push through, and then we can get the water flowing a bit better before the storms later this week. There we are, that's better. So the water's flowing out nicely there, and hopefully that will kind of, I suppose, empty the little overflow bit that I've got there into the pond, and then all the way over in the pond, back up there somewhere is the overflow of the pond. So hopefully water should be moving as it should. The next thing is I'll probably come back in an hour, because the filters might have been blocked with the water kind of pushing things through, and also to make sure the water levels have come down. Now on to the next thing. So I'm just at my woodshed, and the next thing I want to install is a light. Now I've got a solar panel light, and I just want it, basically when I'm trying to get wood for the stove, it's very dark in our woodshed, and it'll be useful to just have a light where as I walk in it turns on and get the wood, go out, and I don't have to worry about it. So I bought a relatively cheap one, and so now I want to install it. So I want to put it on the roof of the wood barn above me, but I'm having difficulties of the fitting, because the fitting is kind of designed to either be sort of on the wall or sort of flat on a roof or something, so it doesn't fit quite well. So I think what I'm going to do is try and get a piece of wood and cut it at an angle, and then I can fit that to a piece of wood, and then fit the wood to the roof, and that should hopefully hold the solar panel. So let's give it a go. So here's the solar panel, so you can see the bit on the bottom. So of course if it was like sort of on the base, then that would kind of give me the right angle for the sun, and if I turn it around, which I'm trying to do with one hand, if I turn it around, then it's on like that, then it's also not quite at the right angle, because I kind of want it a bit more like that. So I'm on the roof of my corrugated woodshed, and as you can see, I've got my triangle piece that I'm going to use to put my solar panel thing on. Actually, I'm going to put it that way. I'm going to drill 2 holes in my angled wood so that I can put some bolts through it. But what I want to do is I'm going to have to drill some holes through the actual corrugated iron. And when you're drilling holes through corrugated iron, whatever you do, make sure you put the holes at the top and not the bottom. And the reason for this is obviously if there's any water, then it's less likely to go into it. Whereas if it's on the bottom, because the water drains in the bottom part, it's obviously going to go into the hole. And that's exactly what's happened on this roof. I'm not sure who's put it on, but they've put the holes in the wrong place, and of course, sod's law, they leak through. So I'm going to put some on the top of the corrugated element. I'm using a bit of softwood, to be honest with you, and it will probably rot in a couple of years, but I'm just going to put something on temporary because it's the winter and I just need to get it up and working, and then maybe in the summer I'll change this piece of wood. So after just filming that and mentioning that I was using softwood and I'd have to replace it, I thought, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I might as well see if I've got an off-cut piece of oak or something like that I can use. That's going to last a lot longer. And actually, as it happens, I've managed to find an old offcut from a post that I use that's wood treated and will hopefully last for many years. So I've now cut a new piece of wood. So I'm going to remeasure this of where the holes need to go and then put some holes in so I can get some bolts and get it on the roof. So I've now fitted and bolted down the solar panel on the top, and I've just screwed in the panel inside and it all seems to work, which is great. Hopefully now the sun can charge up the batteries and I'll have light in my wood shed at night. So I've ticked that off the list. What's next on the list? I'm sorting out my asparagus patch. So we've got a big long asparagus patch at the edge of our vegetable patch, and it's coming to that point in the season where I'm going to have to cut them down and mulch them up so that they're ready for the winter. So as you can see, a lot of my asparagus is now quite yellow and we're starting to have a bit of frost in the evening. So this is the perfect time to cut them down and compost them and then get some mulch on. So let's get going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them at the close to the bottom as possible, and just remove all of the stems that are currently here, and then I can compost the stems. I'll probably cut them up and then I can put some mulch on. I think I'm going to need some sharper secateurs than these ones. They're not going through very easily. There we are, a big batch of asparagus plants ready to be cut up and put into the compost bin. There we are, it doesn't take too long to cut and remove them. Already done a nice chunk, just got to keep going. So there we are, my asparagus is all cut down and put into the compost heap. The compost heap's slightly over full, so I'm probably going to have to clear that and probably at some point turn it and move into the other compost. But now the asparagus strip, which is kind of there along the fence, hopefully that will be ready now for its mulching. Well, there's a mess now from all that work, but so what we've got here is we've got some bags of mulched leaves that I put together kind of last year, and they've been in my barn just sort of rotting down. They're not fully rotten, they're only a year old. They're probably better off having 2 years, but unfortunately I've never sort of managed to get enough leaves to kind of leave them for 2 years, and to be honest with you, it kind of rots down on the asparagus patch itself, so I don't really mind. So I'm just opening these up and then spreading it along the asparagus patch just to give it a good mulch. So there we are, my asparagus patch has its mulch on for the year, and hopefully that will protect it in the winter. So there we are, the light is working as planned in my woodshed. Thank you for watching this week's video. That's it, and I look forward to catching up with you next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, so you don't miss out on future videos. And I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye.